En las redes sociales de hoy en día, el contenido de calidad a menudo pasa desapercibido. A los usuarios se les paga por la creación, evaluación y conservación de los contenidos de calidad. Los creadores de contenido son recompensados según el compromiso y el alcance de su publicación o comentario. Los evaluadores de contenido son recompensados en función de la velocidad y los resultados de sus predicciones. Los propietarios de la comunidad son recompensados en función del compromiso dentro de su comunidad. El contenido de calidad se paga.
Hello, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky episode 0x44. It is the 69th episode. We have a few updates, announcements, things like that before we have our guests come on. So first up, Dragonchain just joined the BPSAA, the Blockchain Privacy, Security, and Adoption Alliance. We were basically pinged by them a few weeks back, and we joined because they are basically a group of, I think it's 6 projects right now that are doing a very unique thing in the crypto world, which is not acting as tribes, and they're basically working together, both in marketing and in tech. That they share tech, they bring each other into projects, very good things, really amazing and fitting culture. So we just joined, and we'll be putting out more info about it in the coming weeks when we really know more than we do right now and how we fit in. So I thought we should let everybody know, because it's really a pretty interesting group if you look into it, and all the projects on there are doing very interesting and good things for the industry. So anyway, really good stuff. Next up, there was an update on the Beaksy project from Cooper at Beaksy, and basically it is that they've been working to make this data available to the to place onto chain, and it was a set of data that foreign exchange was typically not exposed anywhere, so they had to put separate channels in, and they're just finishing that up. So for those of you that have been following that, we have of course the trading system has been online for months now, and it has a few of the early trades that have hit pretty high levels of verification, but with this they are intending to put all of our orders on chain, and the basic intent of that for an exchange is that it will prevent front running, that they in any order that you make that gets executed on the exchange, even though it's a centralized exchange, would be transparent, that all of the orders that were involved in that trade would be provably predating your order. So an interesting thing, really cool, and should be pretty powerful for Beaksy as an exchange to show that there's no funny business behind the scenes, that they're not cheating you when you're actually getting an order executed. So beautiful things. Let's see. Next, Beaksy yesterday announced a Dragon US dollar pair, and is now live, and it's pretty cool, especially I think for more for the normies, and or I don't know this because I'm in Washington State, unfortunately, but I believe that you can set up auto deposits in US dollar from your checking account and things like that on Beaksy. So pretty cool things. I wish I was using somewhere, but in Washington State we can't. So maybe someday the politics will get out of the way. Let's see, and or the lobbyists. I don't know who's causing it, but either way, it's pretty sad stuff. So that's good. Go check it out. Go go figure out what you can do with it, because I'm interested to learn a lot more myself. Next, Den mobile app. So you can see a couple of screenshots. We have an actual beta out there, and we just enrolled all the fellowship members that wanted to be a part of it. I've been using it for a while, and about 3 weeks ago, I was able to almost exclusively use it. There are only a couple of things that I have to go to the website for now, and we expect a public beta soon, so let us know if you want to be a part of that. We'll probably put out a form in the next week or so to start collecting signatures on that if you want to be a part of it. And mostly it's you can still use web for anything that isn't built in there yet. There are a couple of things like layer settings that won't be there for a while, but we're trying to get all the baseline features in. And it's really usable right now already, so I like it. Also, let's see here, something important that people have been asking about, which is layer ownership rights. This is for Den. When lore goes out, there will be a snapshot that will basically give, reward, whatever word you want to use, anyone with dragons in a wallet that particularly for because those are mostly the early adopters, and because it runs a top dragon, that anyone holding one dragon will get one lore all the way down, and it will, however, not be a classic crypto airdrop. It will be a drop into the Den application itself, so the lore will be fully usable as they would be, but you won't be able to pull them out to avoid any concerns that we would have from legal. That was one of the things that we needed to do. So one way or another, though, you will be able to purchase ownership in the various layers during the upcoming layer creation process, LCP, monthly, I don't know if you call them contests that we're doing. So one way or another, it's something that would be pretty powerful, because if you already hold dragon, you'll be able to at least get in to lore and then ownership of layers much sooner. So that snapshot is going to happen at Ethereum block height 11,365,640. So that should be about a week from today, okay? Approximate. So watch for that. We expect it would be sometime next Tuesday, depending upon how fast those blocks fly through. So it could be Monday too. Dragon must be in your personal wallet. Don't leave it on exchange, because you won't be able to claim it. Once claimed, lore, as I said, would be locked in your Den account and usable for creating layers, and also for paying layer fees when those turn on for business created layers. So pretty cool stuff. The first LCP, layer creation process, is coming soon. We're waiting though for a couple of things to be completely tested on with the tokens. In the meantime, we're going to be doing maybe this week, maybe next week, I'll talk to the team, but we're going to be doing an LCP with energy, like we've done in the past months, where if you have energy in the system, you can treat it like it's lore. You vote on the new layers, we tabulate the results, and you get lot produced, and Den basically pays the lore to create them. So it's a pretty good early advantage if you're in there, and you just need to keep watching Real Denizens on Twitter, or watch the LCP layer inside of Den itself. That we'll post something there, and you'll be able to either make proposals for new layers or vote on the ones that you like that other people do propose. Another piece, we do expect, I don't want to promise, but Matter deposits should be live later today. That one way or another, you'll be able to then bring any matter from the outside back into the system, and you'll be able to use it primarily first, of course, to create energy. It automatically creates energy that you can use in the system to make more matter. But we will have new Matter utility coming pretty soon as well, that mostly around boosting posts with risk, which is going to be an amazing feature, I think, when people realize what it is going to be doing, because it is an alternative to advertising in a way that readers inside of a community won't ideally see as advertising. It'll be mostly directed as if this is good content, then you get some interesting incentives. So and then I'm hoping sometime very soon, I know the backend's already completed and we've seen all the numbers, that we're adding a Matter metrics page or report that one way or another you'll be able to look at any day and see where you got the Matter that you got, where it was mined. That is on did you get that 10 Matter from that excellent post that you made, or did you get the 3 Matter from evaluating other content, right? So very powerful, because it'll help people realize where they're getting the Matter from, and therefore how to adjust their behavior to get more Matter, right? Which is what we really want, because the better content and the better evaluation, the better the system, and those people should be rewarded. So that's pretty important, and I think it'll be out in the next week or two, but Thanksgiving's here, so it's hard to estimate. So watch for that. Next we have Number Go Up by FOMO Hunt, returning. We couldn't do it last week for various reasons. This week we're doing Ethereum, right? So last week, Number Go Up, and we expect, or the analyst prediction, next week, Number Go Up. Okay? What fun. All for crypto Twitter. That's the only reason we do this. Sorry. Okay, so that's everything. That's all the updates. Let us know if you have any questions. If we have time, I'll answer them at the end, but we probably won't have time, so do ask them anyway. And we'll be right back with our guests. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. So I'm gonna go through introductions. Hopefully I won't get anything wrong. So Phil Abraham should be our newest board member at Dragonchain, or the Dragon Company. Founder of Cloudface Tech, former supply chain at GM. I didn't know that, right? And served National Executive Global Logistics at Domino's. Yes? Tell us about yourself, Phil.
Sure. I had two parts of my life. One, I worked in the large companies, General Motors and Domino's, and I also was part of re-engineering Walmart in their global supply chain. And I invented the first ever supply chain software, I guess, in the world. It's called Manugistics, about 35 years ago. And it's still used by all the food retailers. Walmart uses it, McDonald's uses it, everyone uses it, so on and so forth. And created a big supply chain portal for the global automotive industry as well. So which threw me kind of now where I'm at in disrupting technology. So I spent many years now focusing on disrupting bad technology, because I found that this technology, when not built correctly, it hinders efficiency, it hurts decision making, and just quite frankly gets in the way. So I spent a big chunk of my life, including grad school, on working on ways to move bad technology out of the way and move the good technology in place. So
Yeah, that's needed.
yeah.
That's good. That's needed. That's always needed. So, okay. Next up, Amy Berliner, president of Government Blockchain Council California, founder of Aegis Biotech, serves on the editorial advisory board for the Journal of Cannabinoid Medicine, and chairwoman for Women Grow. Tell us about what you're doing now, Amy.
So my background, very diverse background. I was a C-suite individual executive running a lot of companies and doing exceptionally well. In 2012, I ended up walking away from that role and getting skin cancer, and it pivoted my whole life. It was a perfect fusion of looking at progressive technologies, progressive science, and being able to fuse that together. And so I began having a passion and a deep dive into technologies that were, as Phil said, disruptive, ways to really open up the ecosystems to do what blockchain is so great at, which is interoperability. And today we see everything so siloed, and we equate things as a value because we hold it, and yet it only works best when it is all interoperable. And so I got involved with Government Blockchain Association here in California, and worked with a congressional candidate that had a voter-fied blockchain application and platform that was used regionally. And then decided, out of my own frustration, I needed to create some innovation. And so part of that was building an ecosystem where I could fuse both alternative and traditional therapies together in medical research, and use both observational but clinical studies to become more progressive and proactive, really pacing a global world that's looking at how do we help consumers and patients after they've exhausted the traditional ecosystem in healthcare, and they really become their own rogue researchers. And we felt it was really intrinsically important to fuse all of that, merge that data together, and use that in our research teams to better formulate and create better natural nutraceutical and pharmaceutical products. So really, if we want to see scalability and sustainability, it starts with the quality of what we give a consumer and giving them the experience. And so I knew I wanted to build on the blockchain. I'd been approached by IBM, and I knew that I really wanted to kind of do something more independently on my own. And, you stay in the trench, and especially mid-COVID, it's a great time to be in the trench and really accomplish a lot of great things. But blockchain has been an incredible vehicle for me and conduit to be able to not only help educate others to the meaningful and value that it has, but also identifying those opportunities so we can really pace a global market and meet those expectations and demands. We look at COVID today, and we're scrambling to put a vaccine on the market that is safe and efficacious, and yet we've bypassed, what is traditional 8 to 12 years in an FDA clinical study. So we really want to be progressive and proactive, and we really want to fuse great science and technology and monetization into that, so we can better kind of plan, anticipate, and forecast the future in much more meaningful ways.
Excellent. All right. And Nina Kilbride, founder of Mars Metro, digital legal workshop for decentralized platforms. Also a principal at Corporating Labs and advisor at, is it Remedy? Remedy. Okay. Excellent. So tell us about yourself, background, what you're looking at.
Sure. Certainly. I spent 18 years as a commercial litigation attorney in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. Represented everybody from global transactional banks all the way down to mom and pop. So I kind of had a good understanding about the commercial background that I was dealing with. In 2015, I caught the smart contracts bug. Every lawyer I knew told me I don't know. You don't know what you're talking about, little lady, but I thought I did. I left practice and joined the only company who at that time was developing smart contracts in a way I thought that my clients were going to be able to use them. And I spent several years doing research and development, testing blockchain and smart contracts for fitness of purpose with financial market infrastructure, risk market infrastructure, and trying to figure out how we were going to use technology to better manage legal know-how and solve some problems. And I'm hearing echoes of my journey from both Phil and Amy, because a lot of the reasons that I credit just understanding what to do with this technology in 2015 was my experience working in the automotive finance supply chain, and I live in Research Triangle Park, where clinical trials and R&D is our bread and butter. So how do we take all of the potential we have to make better solutions, not just better financing, that matters, but better applied solutions dealing with information and technology, and bring those things to market? And so that's what I've been focused on, building out applied models that will help us really get adoption. And for me, I focus on how we can unbundle complex legal services, recast some of those services as digital products that we can use in new ways for our business, drive business value, grow your business, but at the same time, capture all of that extra business value that legal services is always left on the table. And so
Yes.
That's what my products do.
Nice. Yeah. No, I like some of the model that you're, as I understand it, that you're working on with the basically funneling people through, having an educational component for the places that a normal person doesn't would normally ask a lawyer something that then they can answer, and all of it being on chain. Pretty amazing stuff. So okay. So I'm going to go between each of the three of you. It's we have three people on, and I'm not the best interviewer in the world, so we'll basically handle this where I think I'm going to work through, and if anybody wants to chime in, feel free. If there's something interesting, it's pretty open. But start with Phil. So I have a few questions. How long have you been looking for an interop solution for siloed networks? Medical records management, EMR stuff, from your profile. Is that a big issue with medical records, as an example? Muted. You're muted. Sorry.
I've been struggling with this for over 30 years, but the last 10, 12 years specifically in healthcare. And then within healthcare, every single piece of it, from Johnson & Johnson to the Cardinal Health, the pharmaceuticals, the group purchasing organizations, every department in a hospital, and specifically going deep into medical records and patient billing. And it's just a hot mess. I've really gone deep on this. Matter of fact, one of my clients, Ascension Health, the largest Catholic healthcare system, asked me to go out and audit, catalog, and identify all known software systems that are used by the entire U.S. healthcare network and all the players. And it's just amazing how disjointed, disconnected, and siloed everything is. And even within a silo, you would hope that things work smoothly within one silo. The silos are all disjointed. So me being, a little bit kind of straight up, black and white, trying to solve problems, I was basically borderline out of my mind on this particular task. And that led to the fact that I got asked all the time about, well, Phil, could you please recommend a blockchain solution that will solve this? And I found myself, and it's kind of unfair to me, but I found myself saying in a very honest manner, I can't recommend any. because I didn't want to look the customer in the eyes and go, well, I'm sorry you got a disaster on your hands, because I felt under pressure to recommend, IBM or someone, and it doesn't work and it blows up the system. Plus, you have to remember, complex healthcare and medical records and supply chains as they feed into healthcare, and information goes into the medical records from the supply chain. They can't even run themselves right now. Then you're going to throw them onto a blockchain. And now you got Crazyville.
Yeah.
So I became that bad guy. I was the poster child for why you shouldn't use blockchain. And quite frankly, I just said I'm not giving an inch. But then when I got involved with Dragonchain, I fell in love with the interoperability functionality, and that solved everything for me. And so now I'm out there like the town crier telling everyone, good news, Bill Abraham loves Dragonchain. We can all go to sleep tonight for a dream.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we like. I mean, that's the whole reason we made it. I mean, it's because people like you, and I've being in the regular software world forever, knowing, I come over to crypto and everybody has, a year and a half of experience writing software. So, at least in the early days. So it was always this thing where I was usually brought in on some of the projects to help, make them more operational, right? Or to basically cover all of the things that normal software has to worry about all the time. And I realized that we really need people like you, and when I was at Disney, right? People that we dealt with there, to be able to use the technology without saying, oh no, you have to rewrite everything. Everything you think about software is different here, right? It doesn't have to be. And so we really tried to solve those problems. So it was great to hear that you were able to actually use it, right? So so what was it about just the interop or the flexibility that made you decide to, join up? We're partners now. You are, if I and I don't know the way it works, but basically, consultant for us, Go ahead. Phil, can you hear me? I don't think he can hear me.
It's really, again, it goes back to the ease of connecting to disparate systems. Nobody wants to talk about this little ugly world of disparate systems out there that aren't talking to each other, which really makes it very hard to transition a complex org over to a blockchain world.
Right.
So it was Dragonchain's. The fact that Dragonchain addressed that on their own without me sticking my nose in the middle of it, it just really made me feel good. It was just one big less problem that I had to fight. And it makes things easy now because I can take the complexity of technology and supply chain and ancillary areas, medical records, whatever, and connect them over to a blockchain. For example, I was on a call yesterday with a 100-plus-year-old global healthcare company. This headquartered over to place, and about halfway through the call, we're supposed to be talking about supply chain. The guy says to me, "Could you help me?" This is exactly what I said. I go, "Are you kidding me? For the first time in my life, I get to go on record and say, yeah, I sure can help you with that one. Yeah, it's called Dragonchain. So we're going to fix your supply chain headaches, and we're going to get you on the blockchain, and you can check that box and get the board off your back. So your life will be warm and fuzzy now."
Yes. It's an easy way to do that. It's at least a checkbox. That's where it starts, right? And I do say some of the stuff that we haven't even talked about with you relate to with some of the silos where there are politics, right? That there are ways to incentivize people to connect and or for the data to be shared across where it makes sense. So that's another piece that it's big. Okay, so next, let's see here. Amy, how did you find Dragonchain?
You know, I was approached by an incredible guy that you have on your team, Trey, and you know, from introduction one, Trey and I just synergized, and we synergized because it came from the top, right? It came from you, you know, evaporating into all the other people that work alongside you. And, you know, when we began to build a relationship and really talk about, you know, why I chose not to go with IBM and to partner in that way, and to look at real solutions that we're solving real-time problems. I think a lot of times in healthcare, as Phil knows and Nina as well, you know, sometimes because we have a particular brand name that is well known throughout the world, it doesn't necessarily mean that we bring the quality to the table. You know, Gold's Gym is known for being great at muscles, not perfume and cosmetics, right? And sometimes we find that in the world of different industries, is we think that because we have a certain name that means that credibility and integrity follows all the way through to the technology. Yeah. And I think it's really important that there's always those provocateurs that are pushing the edge and always bringing to the conversation something that's meaningful to a market and letting them respond in a real meaningful way. And I think, you know, when we met, you know, one of the things that, you know, certainly kind of was a plus for me was understanding really what the vision was for Dragonchain. I'm a dominant type of individual when it comes to my lane, and I'm going to own that. And we're poised to hold the largest amount of integrative health data by 2023. So we want to work with a group of people who can handle the scalability and that bandwidth, handle the compliance and the regulatory factors that go along with that in healthcare and EMR, but also being able to you know, create an immutable environment that is nearly unhackable, right? You know, we're on the heels of smart computers and quantum computing, and I love the fact that we're building Rome anticipating those things as being infiltrants and potential, you know, antagonists to the system itself, right? And building and anticipating that. And so understanding, you know, when we talk quantum resistance, you know, we're talking in my kind of space and headspace as we build towards the future and really create these ecosystems that can interoperate, you know. And I love that, you know, hearing Trey share that was the big picture and the big vision, and being able to reward that as we will be doing as well is so incredibly important to me, to be able to give a good solid experience in an ecosystem that is trustworthy and gives them the resources and the tools that they need. Yeah. And let me do my job.
Yeah. What, and can you tell what big picture will you be using of all the blockchain capabilities of Dragonchain? You know, what are you expecting to use the tech directly for? And I guess you know, what's the most important feature of those, you know, or you know, what's the most important capability that we would cite?
God, you know, that's a convoluted question for me because there's many layers to that answer. I think the enterprise is what works really incredibly well for me, is that there's different, you know, H gateways, if you will, of apps within the apps that are really going to be meaningful to, you know, I want it all in the palm of one hand. I want that functionality. I want to be that solution. And I think having the ability to have a wallet, have, you know, that immutable environment, be able to transact and upload data and information in real time, and be able to on and offline, and be able to connect with community. All these different features are so incredibly important to my ecosystem with our application called Stream Health. So we want to stream in good and stream out great, and be able to utilize that in great ways, but partnering with a group that understands the capability of what we're looking to accomplish, and it fits simultaneously into that ecosystem and environment, I think is a winning opportunity. You know, I want people to know that we are the go-to application for mHealth telehealth, really creating that disconnect between patient, provider, and consumer, and manufacturer and research. So
Excellent.
I love being able to have that broad picture. I'm a very broad stroke individual when it comes to when I built my company. Aegis means shield in Greek. And so I meant that from care to cure. And in our technology at Stream Health, it's really important to me that we create this ecosystem that is valued, it's independent of within the healthcare ecosystem, and be able to toggle along and be able to bring healthcare with us. We have to set the pace. We're following the global market and presenting solutions to them that are turnkey versus these legacy ideologies that really happen in healthcare where, because of who we are, everyone will follow. And that's not necessarily true. You look at blockchain and crypto, and we understand that that's very, very different and very, it's created a new pathway for people to solve real problems, independent of old ideologies and old legacy technology. And it's why crypto and it's why the blockchain are going to be the future, as we all know.
Right. That's good. Because there's so much that fits in, especially in healthcare, where interop is needed, and that's one of the things that probably the most important part of blockchain interop, at least right now, is traditional interop, traditional systems, at least in our minds. Most of the other blockchain companies don't pay attention to that because they're focused entirely on moving tokens between platforms and things like that, which is all good, but it's not something that probably matters to 99.99% of all businesses, right? We're really wanting to focus on what are the things that we can do with real business. And the funniest thing is, I think our biggest hurdle is not the message itself, not what we're communicating, but what is being communicated elsewhere. Because if someone just goes to Google and asks that question, they're going to come up with a horrible, a headache of all the information is, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, and it's impossible, and why would you ever want to do it? Blockchain's not for that, blah blah blah. And so we're up against tons and tons of paid articles and just a lot of noise. So it's really good when somebody sees it and can get to it, and they think about it, maybe step back and look at the big picture and say it's just software, right? It's a different kind of software. It has unique capabilities and unique risks, right? But it's still just software. So that's what's usually needed. So it's good. All right. Okay, Nina. So before you started talking to Trey, did you look into other learning management systems before deciding on? We have a product, so that everyone knows, we don't talk about it a lot, but it's called Lyceum. It's basically the basis for measured learning, right? Where the point basically started with a roadmap goal that we had in 2017 to create a learning management system, to create an academy, right? And we went. Before I get to you answering that, we went and we looked at a bunch ourselves, and there were a lot of them that were really good. There were a lot of them that were open source, but there were a lot of them that were very complex. Like educational software is usually ugly, clunky, doesn't exactly work the way you want, things like that. And we basically just wanted something that was on chain, and so we ended up starting from scratch. And in 5 weeks, the guys built the academy, and it's native blockchain. It's kind of crazy because it was very early for us, and so we did it in a way that we might not have done it otherwise. But it's I don't know. We're really proud of it, but we haven't had a lot of chance to really push it. Right? We have plans for it, but we haven't found the right partners for some of those plans. So. So did you look at others? What made you decide on, other than Trey being cool and
yeah. He was awesome, but it wasn't the same. No, he's charming, but it's not the same. So I had this concept for some digital legal products that I wanted to make, and so those started with number one, HIPAA compliant document automation. at the base, because for lawyers, we don't have, at least in the United States, any cohesive interoperable framework for privileged data management. And so HIPAA is our best analog that I could come up with. So I made HIPAA compliant document automation for legal operations. And then what I needed to do was to wrap that in a provable user experience, because if what I wanted to do was unbundle some of that monolithic services delivery, I needed to be able to make sure that people had gotten the information that I know is my job to deliver, because it does two things. It makes sure that they get the right outcome, the right work product delivered to them, but then it also covers my rear from a risk and liability perspective. So I spent some time working out the user experience, tried a couple of different, learning management systems. And there's an incredible variety of those, all meant to serve different communities, it seemed like. And so once I'd really realized that indeed learning management systems gave me that provable user experience that I needed, well, I'm a blockchain legal product designer. I needed a blockchain. And so Dragonchain had Lyceum. I like Joe said, they weren't really promoting it aggressively, but I was aware of blockchain Dragonchain for a long time, and I have a lot of admiration for both the design and business decisions they've made over the last few years. So I felt really confident that connecting my products to their Lyceum LMS was going to give me that provable user experience I needed. Then I actually got to play with the Academy, and I was like, this is so elegant compared to some of the sort of plug and play options I had thus far. So it was a pretty easy choice for me. And the only hard part was figuring out, when a product that y'all hadn't been front burnering, how to use it. And that's where the early, the first thing you started talking about on this podcast was this culture of collaboration and actually working together to achieve our milestones. That's where really Dragonchain has been a fabulous partner.
Excellent. And so thanks. No, for your application, are you putting the because we know that you're doing the educational components, but are you putting the contracts and the legal documents and maybe even the process on chain as well?
Okay. So I spent a long time working on that. So that's not the hard part for me. So I haven't bothered, honestly. I've been more focused on making sure that I have smooth functioning document automations, right? So here, as a product designer, I spent several years sort of grinding against tools that weren't ready for prime time. So when it came down to making like these top level distributable products work to begin to create like a revenue stream and a value funnel, from a product level, it was easier to design with best-in-class solutions, for example, G Suite, whatever, and then go from there and incrementally add in the provable experience that I know I need, the smooth audit that I want, and the ability to work in this blockchain environment, which I've already committed to being where I'm going to drive my machine. So.
Excellent. That's great. And are you working with anyone to put more courses on, or I know we just started working with you on some of that. So.
Sure. Well, the first courses are they're legal products, and they're built around a course environment, I guess. The first ones are more basic compliance that everyone needs. Not really unusual stuff that you're going to need lawyers to support. Things like privacy policies, data processing agreements, cybersecurity plans. These are things that lawyers don't normally do anyway. It's more of Big Four consulting and part of a big consulting relationship to get these things built. However, Once we move into the real value proposition for what legal products can do, which is unleash creativity for services professionals, that's where you need more than one subject matter expertise creating product. And then you also need humans who are going to answer the hard questions. Because as a practical matter, when we unbundle complex legal services, digital legal products are lead generators. And that's their goal. And so lawyers and other services professionals will use these products to design lead generators that are good for them. But then you've got to have those lawyers to answer the hard questions. And the products have actually self-qualified your customers and led them to where they're actually ready to pay for human legal expertise. So I've got a number of lawyers I've been working with to make, it's my early cohort of redistributors of product, because again, distribution is a missing link here for legal services. To work on things that are really, again, common, but you want a human somewhere in the background, both as a practical matter and as a legal requirement. For example, trademark, Delaware corporate forms. These are things that we know there are a lot of people who can manage from a self-help perspective, but very few people are going to want to put those out there from a professional perspective without giving them the infrastructure to answer the hard questions. Because there are a lot of hard questions that digital products cannot answer.
Right. Very good. Okay. All right. That's great. Phil, let's go back to you. You're the keynote speaker, Cyberpool conference next month, right? So can you tell us what Cyberpool is, what they do, what's their mandate, what power do they have, and are they interacting with the U.S.? I mean, is it just starting? This is new, right?
Yes, Cyberpool, and I was just looking yesterday at this legal document that grants Cyberpool all of their authority, and I don't have it in front of me right now, and I'm not an attorney, so it's pretty deep and wide on the laws and the governing laws and so on, okay? And they're kind of like, in my opinion, the sister company to Interpol, and they're global. And I'm also on their executive committee, by the way. I don't even know if I feel comfortable being on Cyberpol, but it's a very serious group of people. And I rather have fun and do nice, warm and fuzzy things. And these guys are, these people are pretty serious. But they're connected, yes, in the United States. They're connected with, Group 8200, which is the extreme level of the Israeli Mossad. They're tied in the NSA, the CIA, and then whatever the names of all those groups are for Belgium and England and whatever, that's them, Cyberpol.
Okay.
And they're also, looking at multiple things. For example, protecting the financial and banking markets in all of Europe. They've already spoken to me about that. How do we protect these things? We're in dire need for this. They're also looking at policing and tracking internet crime and cross-country crime. Again, I might not be using the right legal terms, crimes that are collaborating amongst multiple countries. But then more importantly, I think how I got dragged into it is how do you get proof
We cut
that
out. What a time to lose them. Sorry.
actions that are leading to bad people and bad things. That's kind of what they talk.
Right. Because we've talked.
That's what they're talking about all the time. So, and I learn more every day. Go ahead.
That's good. And because we talked about that, the application of proof to that, right? The fact that you can put something on record that nobody can change and that can be independently verified, right? Even though it's private information. It's something that, okay, inside the bank, inside of Cyberpol, we have a record. We know that this happened, and we know that it would cost hundreds of millions of dollars to change that record, and everybody in the world would know about it, right? So that's a particularly powerful thing then, because those are the types of records that people would want to change, certain people, right? So yeah, it's very interesting. So
very interesting, and
that's
I'm
great.
Learning more after each meeting with them.
Yes, it's exciting. So where can people follow you, or where can people find out what you're doing, in the world? You're on a lot of podcasts and whatnot, right? I think we have a delay. We have a 10-second delay in case I throw out any 4-letter words.
Well, I don't even know how to answer that question anymore. I guess what I try to do is I tell people I'm in LinkedIn, and my contact information's there. I'm getting on a lot of podcasts. Last week I was asked to sit on, participate in 10, and I only picked one because I'm trying to now be more efficient and effective and pick and choose which podcasts I'm going to go on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to zero in on my messaging now. I've got the Dragonchain figured out. That takes care of that part of my world. I'm fighting with the Cyberpole guys, get them all straight. So right now, I guess you can hunt me down on LinkedIn.
Okay. Right on. Very good. Amy, what can people
phone numbers
expect?
on there and email and all that.
Right on. Amy, what can people expect to see from Aegis Biotech in the near future? What are you, what's your timeline looking like?
We're going to be to market early 2021. And we are really excited because, as I said, we're poised to hold the largest amount of integrative health data. So the culmination of alternative and traditional healthcare. So in research, I think it's really important, like I said, that we put that fusion together and work with drug pharmaceutical manufacturers and nutraceuticals and help to get great products on the market that are sustainable and quality, safe and efficacious. And so I think that's where you're going to see us traction a lot. There's going to be a lot of momentum in the marketing space coming out with, we've been really quiet this year and really building in the trench. And so, mid-January, you're going to see a big push for Stream Health and the momentum behind it. So we're really excited. We're headed into a Seed A series and we're going for 10 million. And up until this point, it's been myself and my team. And now we're opening it up a little bit wider to continue to scale and sustain the market that we know that we intend on globally saturating.
Excellent. And where can people follow what's
going
on with you and Aegis?
Same with Phil. Most active probably on my LinkedIn right now. I've been usually really quiet this last year. I've done a lot of podcasts and a lot of public speaking events. But this last year was really quiet and really working with my dev team. So excited for that because now I'm going to go evangelize Dragonchain alongside Stream Health and Aegis Biotechnologies and really make our moment in the world. And it's something that you said, Joe, that really resonated to me is what we do today echoes into eternity. And I am about that, and I vibe very well with that. It's the core of why I'm doing what I'm doing is to make an imprint into the world and to bring others along with us. So I'm honored and thankful for Dragonchain, and I'm really looking forward to being the go-to app for health and wellness.
Oh yeah, thanks. No, we're happy to have you. Yeah, and Marcus Aurelius. That's who that, right? So, it's a good quote. Let's see here, Nina. Okay, so what can we expect from and is it under Corpening Labs or is it under which org?
Corpening Labs is the R&D entity that I've worked under for a couple of years. The brand is Mars Metro, and that's what you'll see me working as moving forward. Mars Metro will release a number of more legal products of increasing complexity. And on the back end, I'm going to be tooling out very sophisticated risk management products that handle these new risks that I've deliberately created.
Very nice. No, that's really good. Okay, and where can people follow you and follow Mars to know?
Twitter, LinkedIn. That's where I'll be.
Excellent. Very good. Very good. Okay, so that's everything. Thanks for joining. We actually hit under an hour. It's amazing. Thanks, guys. It was really good. So watch again. Super Happy Dragon Lucky every Tuesday morning, depending on where you are. Every Tuesday. Follow Real Denizens. Follow Dragonchain Gang. Follow Jojo Row on Twitter, at least. Of course, on LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere else as well. Like, comment, subscribe, and see everybody next week. Thanks, guys. Thanks a bunch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.